Hello everyone, welcome to Dr. Rajkumar Academy. In today's session, we'll discuss about 8-9-2022. Guys, in newspaper, the number of informations and the concepts that we try to study will reduce day by day, mainly because there will be some interlinking between whatever is happening. So, if we can add on to those points, that itself would be really helpful. But if any new entrant is there, that is like, if someone is listening for the first time, they might not understand certain aspects. So I'll just try to quickly tell what had actually happened so that it would be helpful for everyone. So, guys, to begin with, if we look at the first issue, see, guys, for next few months, this will be a major issue where Rahul Gandhi is trying to cover from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, right? And it is said that it will be for over 5 months across 12 states and union territories. So it's a very interesting and important one, but not from UPSC point of view. It's a political issue which needs to be just seen properly. That's it. So no need to study or make notes from such political issues. Two think tanks face tax survey. See guys, think tanks basically means it's a group of people who sit and discuss about certain policies. It may be about social issues, it may be about international relations, it may be about internal security. So what they will do in international relations, there is an organization by name IDSA, Institution for Defense and Strategic Analysis. Here what happens? You will have defense expertise from different fields. They may be from academics, they may be in defense. All those people will work together and try to make policies. And these think tanks play a very important role in most countries' decision making as well. See, guys, government might not be in a position to understand all the problems from all the perspectives. Some people might have not entered into civil services. So their knowledge is also important in implementing the policies, and that is the reason why these think tanks are there. But but these think tanks get money, and the tax issues would be there, and it is all about that specific issue, not about think tanks. So don't worry about it. New Delhi Dhaka Hail Ganga panel. So yes, there is a Ganga technical committee which will be set up. What is the meaning of a technical committee? Now, Ganga river flows from India to Bangladesh, and when it is flowing, we must be aware how much water is going to Bangladesh. And Bangladesh and India jointly will see whether that much amount of water is released. Is there any technical issues? Do you need to increase the dams? Do you need to decrease the dams? Do you need to increase the flow in a particular time period? Such things will be discussed and decided by the panel. So that has been established between India and Bangladesh, which is welcomed by Bangladesh. Remember, guys, as we saw yesterday as well, more than 50 rivers flow between India and Bangladesh. And unlike Pakistan, where we have Indus Water Treaty, we do not have anything concrete with Bangladesh. Earlier, Bangladesh had went to United Nations, complained against India for not having any agreements. But today, both the countries are working very closely and they are planning to resolve the issue. All this is happening because of Sheikh Hasina, who has visited India. And remember, Sheikh Hasina is daughter of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who was in India during Bangladesh independence struggle. Sheikh Hasina was very close to India during Congress regime. Now also she is very close to India. So because of that closeness, we are able to resolve many issues. India Bangladesh is a very good example, which even the countries claim that, learn from us how to resolve the problems peacefully, right? So this is another issue. I will tell you what you need to write down in this as well. There is another article related to that. At that time, we will add jobs, growth, key priorities, not inflation. Nirmala Sitharaman, the finance minister, has said that in economy there will be always different things which is a priority, guys. In that, Nirmala Sitharaman is telling that our priority is job growth and equitable distribution of wealth rather than inflation alone. You see, guys, now if government focuses on inflation, then government's only thing is reduce the amount of money that is available in the market. For that, government should take money from the people, that is RBI must take the money from the people by increasing interest rates. Fine, just remember this. Whenever RBI, I'm sorry, whenever RBI increases interest rates, people and banks will keep the money, doesn't give it for interest, because of which normally we observe that in the banks interest increases. So yes, in the banks, if interest increases, what they will do, business people, if they want to go and ask loan from the banks, and if interest rate is more, they will not go to the banks. And if they don't take money and if they don't invest, then there won't be growth in the country. So if you want growth, inflation can't be reduced. If you want inflation, growth cannot be reduced. So here, when we look at this particular article, Nirmala Sitharaman is telling that there is an issue whether we need to focus on growth, jobs, or inflation. So today government priority is jobs and growth, not inflation. So I'll just show you how it actually works so that if there is any confusion, it can be removed. So what exactly is it they're talking about? You see, the first point, inflation is there. Inflation, what is the meaning? Price rise. If price rise is happening, the actual reason for this, many argue, is more money with the people. Second thing is supply is less. Now, RBI cannot do anything with respect to this. So RBI tries to reduce money with the people. Now, what is the policy of the RBI? Reduce money. Now, here you see how people will get money. People will get money from the banks. Fine. Now, if there is low interest rate, more money will go from banks to people. If there is high interest rate, is if someone is giving you at a high interest rate, then there will be less money from banks to people. Correct, guys? Now, there is RBI. RBI doesn't deal with people, but RBI deals with banks. RBI will tell, if banks give money to RBI, I will give you high interest. Fine, I'll just write. Now we have banks and RBI. Now let us say RBI will tell, I will give you high interest. If you keep your money with me, I will give you high interest. Banks will keep all the money with the RBI. If RBI will say, I will give low interest, then banks will take money from the RBI. Now you see, guys, RBI is giving high interest, bank has money, and people are there. Now bank will think, I have money, should I give it to people or should I give it to RBI? At the end of the day, bank needs safe interest payments. So what banks will do? Banks will give money to RBI rather than giving money to people. That means less money will go to people. So people have less money. If people have less money, there will be less demand. And if there is less demand, less inflation. So guys, now if inflation has to be reduced, what is the thing? RBI must give it at a high interest rate. Clear? Now you take another case. Now, bank is lending at low interest because RBI is also giving at low interest to people. So people will have more money. More money People will purchase more. If people purchase more, demand increases. As demand increases, production increases. As production increases, jobs increases, GDP increases. So guys, now RBI has two chances, either to increase interest rate or decrease interest rate. If it decreases interest rate, jobs increases, GDP increases. If it increase interest rate, then inflation controls. So if it does one, the other will be affected. So Nirmala Sitharaman is telling that our focus is on growth and jobs, not on inflation. But supply has to be increased at least so that inflation reduces in the country. So guys, this is what they speak about the issues here. Government promises to solve IT corridor problems before next monsoon. Yes, this is very important issue. Today Bangalore is losing its brand and many IT companies are planning to move out. So just go through this issue once, but we'll try to read with urban floods. Yes. And then let's quickly get into the editorial part. And guys, in today's editorial, how ideology muddled inflation control in India, not required. India and Bangladesh must focus on future cooperation based on past partnership. So yes, this is an important article. In Indo-Bangladesh that you were writing yesterday, add few more topics, guys. Recently, India and Bangladesh, recently India and Bangladesh agreed for withdrawal of 1.82 1.82 cusics of water 1.82 cusics of water from Feni. Cusics of water from Feni. Yes, Feni River is boundary between India and Bangladesh near Tripura. And last year, I think last to last year, Bangladesh said India you can take 1.82 cusics of water from Feni River. So that's why that is important. Next guys, Bangladesh is allowing Bangladesh is allowing special economic zone special economic zone at at Mongla, Mongla, Mongla and Mirzarai. Mongla and Mirzarai. Important guys, places are important. So guys, this is not important. These two. The evolving role of CSR in funding NGOs not required. Time for a joint space exercise. These are all suggestions given. And whenever people are talking about suggestions, it's not required. Guys, don't worry, don't read it. Cabinet approves PM Shri scheme. Guys, very important. Prelims question can also come, especially not only UPSC, other exams also. What is PM Shri? Prime Minister or Pradhan Mantri Schools for Rising India. Guys, this is a program which will be implemented mainly with the ambition of making government schools ready for national education policy. Now, according to this program, they are planning to give approximately 2 crores to schools in India, and they have chosen 14,500 schools they want to give. And they want to give it to those states which are comfortable in implementing national education policy. According to the national education policy, they want children to enter into schools at the age of 3, which some people are arguing if they don't enter, they may lose out. Second, from class 6, they are planning for, introducing education in what we call as native languages, vocational courses, where formal education is not given, which might be a problem, is what some people are arguing. There is an exit option in 10th and re-entry in 11th. So there are technical issues which some people are opposing. Tamil Nadu is opposing that you have three language policy where, two have to be Indian languages, but Tamil Nadu is not interested in implementing three language policy, and Tamil Nadu also argues that education is a state subject. Why central government is implementing it? See, guys, this is an issue with central government as well. When education is main responsibility of state, central government can make a policy and request the state governments to implement it by taking certain positive things. But if central government itself get involved in monitoring it, then if central government is doing state government's job, it is centralization, which is against the federal structure of the constitution, which is an issue as well. Whereas Arvind Kejriwal, Delhi Chief Minister, is arguing there are 10 lakh government schools, but why only 14,500 is selected? For this, we must understand that state governments have to implement, central governments will first run some model schools so that the state governments can follow it. So, looking after those educations is in the hands of state governments and not the central governments, guys. So, that is not a proper criticism. So, PM Shri scheme, you can write schemes, education, social issues, PM Shri, PM Schools for Rising India, Schools for Rising India, which will help, which will help existing government schools to implement National Education Policy, National Education Policy 2022. Next point, in 5 years, they want to transform, they want to transform 14,500 schools. Full stop. According to this, the money will be transferred, the money will be transferred directly to the directly to the school's account. Next point, The principal or local committee, the principal or local committee will be given the flexibility to determine the use of 40% of the funds. Okay. This will get more information about such schemes in the newspaper. Only this much is there. IT department searches in 100 locations not required. Coal scam, CBI searches Bengal minister's properties not required. NDMC adopts new name. Janpat will be called as Kartavyapat. Yes, this may be important for some KPSC or other exams, guys. Cabinet approves policy on leasing railway land not required. Positive secularism, guys. Court is still reading it. So once the judgment comes, it becomes important. Professor from Chennai to head mathematics panel. So there is International Mathematics Union, which is announcing its Asia Oceania Women in Mathematics. So, Sonali Gunn, she is chosen. Just to try to write a note on this, not for UPSC but for other exams, guys. Sonali Gunn, first chief of Asia Oceania Women in Mathematics. So now all other issues are again political. Yeah, no need to worry about these. Army undertakes major infra drive along LAC in Arunachal Pradesh. Yes, Indian Army is trying to construct or upgrade roads, railways in Arunachal Pradesh, especially in the Tawang sector, because China, if it is trying to attack, we must be able to attack them back. For this, we are trying for constructing roads and railway lines. But in this article, there is no proper plan, in the sense they are not telling which lines that they are trying to do. So if you know they are constructing, that's enough. Breather for coal plants draws anguish. See, guys, coal plants or thermal plants, they burn coal and heat water. Water will be converted into vapor. Vapor will rotate the turbine and electricity is generated. One of the major problem with thermal power plants is, as natural gas and coal is burned, it emits sulfur dioxide, nitrous oxide, and mercury, which is one of the major problem. And Environment Ministry had told that coal power plants must implement measures to reduce it. Unfortunately, no measures have been taken to reduce this pollution. This is the biggest challenge that India is facing today. But still, we are not able to dictate terms to thermal power plants. One of the main reasons is state governments are not paying money for thermal power plants when they are purchasing the coal, right? So because of that issue, these people are not able to upgrade, and that they are giving, it as an excuse again and again to extend. Now this will lead to lot of pollution. Environmentalists are criticizing why you are not taking strict actions against them. Yes, then you have, in Bhutan, there is a WHO session where the focus is on non-communicable diseases, right? So not so important. Uh, the Xi Putin are set to hold talks in Uzbekistan For SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, not required. Fine. Yeah. This I just want you to have a place name. Fine. Ukraine's nuclear operator Zaporizhia. I don't know how you pronounce it. Zaporizhia. Zaporizhia is monitored by is monitored by IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency. Yeah. See guys, in Ukraine there is a nuclear power plant called Zaporizhia. It is controlled by Russia. IAEA has planned to come there and check because they are scared. Has Russia done anything which may attack or threaten that nuclear reactor? So they have just come there, but I just want you to be aware about the name. Question may come on certain issues which are repetitively spoken about, guys. So I explained you about inflation is not a red lettered priority, right? India eyes IMF support. We are asking IMF to support us in implementing it. G20 summit. CBDC to reduce time cost in cross border business. See guys, digital business. India is planning for central bank digital currency like bitcoins and all. Indian government itself is planning for a digital currency, and India is telling that today we are able to pay in UPI, GPay, Google Pay, sorry, Phone Pay and all. Similarly, through digital currencies, internationally we can pay easily is what government is trying to tell here, guys. That is central bank's digital currency. It is yet to be implemented in a full form, so we can look at that issue once it is implemented. Fine. So these are some of the issues that are important in today's newspaper. I hope these were helpful. Yes, please subscribe so that you will get notifications every day and help you to be on track. Except Sundays, we will be doing it almost regularly. And any suggestions, if you have, please inform us. Uh, we are open for any positive and negative suggestions, whatever is possible from our side. We will try to ensure we implement them. Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot.